Hey, what is good, YouTube fam? It's your boy Wisco Man coming at you again. I want to talk to y'all a little bit about false flag operations and agent provocateurs. You know, if you guys follow Rogan at all, you probably heard a little bit about it. He talks about it from Alex Jones. A little bit of a conservative nut job, but the man. He is obsessed. Alex Jones, I mean, absolutely digs into shit. And although a lot of shit gets extreme and out there, he finds a lot of true shit, man. And, I've looked into it a bit myself and kind of dug into it. And if you're not aware already, anytime you guys see protests that are peaceful, and suddenly the shit starts to get out of control, gets people saying, hey, you need to shut it down. If it seems out of character, that's because it probably is. And that's where we get into agent provocateurs. Now, agent provocateurs, basically, they are people, most commonly you'll hear they're people paid for by the police or instructed by the police. Now, I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. Maybe in some cases, but I think more so you're looking at your local leaders or even higher up than that, depending on what the protest is about. Really interesting thing last year is you had the BLM protests going on in many of the major cities, including Denver here. Shit got crazy, man. I live all the way up on 120th. It's like 7 miles away from downtown. And you could hear the shit going on down in Civic Center Park and down by the Capitol. Like, you could literally hear the tear gas popping on. It was fucking nuts, man. It was absolutely insane. Now, that being said, it's not unheard of for things to get to that level. It's just crazy that it sounded like a war zone here. It's not often that I can hear it from that far away. But the really crazy thing was you started to hear in other cities about these pallets of bricks or like cage cases of rocks and shit that were getting left on street corners in major cities. I can confirm that. It's fucked up, dude. Like, I seen shit down in Denver, like literally they're just showing up out of nowhere. Like, they're asking for damage, man. Businesses downtown were boarding up shit. They, like, black-owned businesses had to plywood up their windows and doors. And it wasn't just them, but I mean, when you're talking about a protest that's supposed to be for their rights and their livelihood, and they were having to board up their own shit. Now you think about that, and it's like, okay, these people that are protesting for their rights, does it make sense that if they're protesting for the rights of African Americans and other minority groups, that those same types of business owners would have to protect their businesses? No. And this is where it comes in. Like, groups like Antifa or just private groups in general, you don't necessarily know the names of all these groups, but they would literally just come around, and this was a... So, let me explain how it works. You get an agency like, say, the police department or, say, these politicians, and they're having issues with these protests. They're causing a lot of problems for them, and it's hard for them to answer for it in their press conferences and different things like that. The way that they handle that is they go to Johnny or, Rebecca and say, hey, you put on a black hood. You put on, something that conceals your identity. Mask, whatever. And you go and take these bricks that we'll leave out for you. Or you take this axe or this bat or this whatever it is. Start smashing shit. Start causing an absolute ruckus. Do illegal shit that gives our police officers the right to come in and shoot tear gas and paintballs and pepper spray balls and whatever else. I mean, I don't know if they necessarily use paintballs, but I guess their pepper spray guns look a lot like it. But anyway, now that allows us to come in and stop the protest because there's violence happening. Shit happened back in the 90s. I believe there's some protests outside the World Trade Center and whatnot. Don't quote me on that. I'm just bringing up rough estimates. But as long as there's been a modern world of protesting and standing up against things, there's been this kind of stuff. Especially in democracies where it's frowned upon to go arresting people that are protesting and go, beating them down. Look at how people looked at Hong Kong in the whole China issue that was going on over there and the uprising there. They just started arresting people and beating people and everything else. And how did they look on the world stage? At least in the United States, when you have people destroying things, you can go ahead and arrest them because they did something illegal. And that's how they come up with curfews. That's how they come up with all this stuff. False flag operations are the same kind of thing. When we had all the protests during the Trump era and you had rallies that were supposed to be, what was it? The Carolina protest stuff that was going on and everything. And they claimed that, there were KKK members doing this or that, or however, like these kind of things, like groups like Antifa, your anti-fascists, they use this kind of stuff too. They'll use false flag operations to just cause a ruckus and make public opinion shift in a way that favors them. If they don't agree with a group, they'll make that group look super bad, and then everybody stands up against them. Now they have public opinion on their side. So just keep in mind when you're watching your news and you're reading articles and you're doing different things and you start reading about how this protest or that protest turned violent, or these people have certain viewpoints that they're committing hate crimes or whatever it may be. Always keep in mind that there may be higher powers at play that are trying to manipulate your opinion. This has been your boy Wisco Madman. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and let me know what y'all think. I'll catch y'all in the next one.